Excuse me, Teddy, are you coming to join my last video of the year? It's making me look like a complete nutcase. Yeah, I know. Come and show the people who's making that noise. What are you gonna do for New Year?
This girl is crazy.
Rude. What? Hi peeps, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Please excuse this guy that's vlog bombing. Is vlog bombing even a thing? It sounds like I said that with a blocked nose. Anyways, we're joined by this guy. Yes, he hates his life. He's so good.
Kill me now.
Everyone I've seen doing these like 10-year challenge, which I think is basically just a picture from 10 years ago till now. So I thought I would do 10 things that have happened in the past 10 years that have significantly like changed my life. I hope that makes sense. The amount of times I've said that sentence in a different order of words, I've lost count. If I ever end up getting this video up in time, it will be a miracle. So number one, I was gonna do it like in order of how it like spaced out, but I actually can't remember the years it happened, so I'm just gonna do it in order that my memory sorts it out. So anyways, 1, I fell in love. I had my first boyfriend at about 16, which is obviously 10 years ago. It didn't work out, but he is now happily married, as am I. So it brings me like to the next kind of bullet point of like falling in love. I fell in love again in 2011, going into 2012. It was like Christmas Eve when Jay told me for the first time that he'd loved me. He didn't ask me out or anything. He just said that he loved me, and I said, I love you back. And that was that. So we have been married now 4 years, together 8 years, give or take. I actually rejected him the first time he asked me out because I was done with boys, so didn't want anything to do with it, but he kept on talking to me. And as you can tell, it worked out because we have been married 4 years now, 5 in May, and together for 8 years past Christmas Eve. So yeah, I gained a husband. 2, I worked for my parents. I've been working for them since I was like 7, child labour. Just joking. I used to do like bits and bobs in the business. I officially started working for them when I met Jay, because Jay moved up and he worked for them too. So if I look down, I'm looking at notes. So number 3, Jay and I moved out of like I'll call it the big house. It was big. I will show a picture right now, but most of it was for my mum and dad's business. So Jay and I worked for them for a good 3 years, kind of basically before we moved to Glasgow, but I'll get to that soon. So we moved out of the big house into like this flat that was on the side to this conversion flat, which was called the butler's flat. Butlers, can never say that word properly. And it was basically just a conversion bit from where there would be the servants of the big house. And we lived there for a year, then we got married, and then we still lived there for a good, I think we had 2 Christmases. Might have been 3 Christmases before we moved to Glasgow. I'll get to that soon. So 4, what are these chubby little fingers doing? 4, I learned to drive and passed first time. I passed second time in my theory, failed by 3 points in the first test, but I passed first time with my practical. And actually, I'm actually terrified of driving now. I haven't driven for a good 4 or 5 years, might be even 6. But I learned to drive in my mum and dad's XC90. So if you don't know what it looks like, I'll see if I can find a picture of me with it. I had to wear I had to sit on 2 cushions to drive it because I was so short. And the looks I would get from people who are outside the car when I got out the car, I had to swing my legs round and then kind of pop. Drop out. That was really awkward. Don't do that. Don't even include that. Yeah, I had that. I would have loved a much smaller car because the amount of like hiccups and accidents I had in that big car was just no, it wasn't meant for me. So I'm glad we kind of said goodbye to that when we moved. So because of the business being like in the house, it was so easy to get to work because literally we just went down some outside stairs and then into like this passageway and then to work. But eventually my mum and dad were thinking of selling up the house, so the business was moved out of the house to this big unit in a nearby town. Would you call it a town or village? At Lagan, where I used to live, was absolutely tiny. There was only 17 kids, including myself, in the whole primary school, and now there's 30 odd, I think, which is massive, what I was used to. But I went to a high school with 400. Anyways, the business was moved to Canusi, which wasn't too far from Lagan. It was like half an hour's drive, which I guess is far for some people. And then the news came that the house was finally on the market. So Jay and I, such stressful time at the time, very emotional. I do sometimes still cry that I'm not in that place that I was. Like, so much freedom. We got freedom here, but I think no one appreciates grass and mountains and views and space until you've lived in the country or been on holiday. I don't know. I was probably digging a hole and yeah, not making any sense. So it was a very stressful time, but eventually with my mum and dad's help, they found us a flat in Glasgow, in Merchant City, down a street called Candleriggs. I can tell you my address now because I don't live there anymore. My mum and dad were planning to move before us because I wanted to be in the same kind of city as them, as I'm really close. But unfortunately it didn't happen, so we ended up moving before them, and they were all the way up in Lagan while we were like settling in Glasgow. My mum did so much work, which I'm so grateful for, to find us the place that we lived in for a while. That kind of, yeah, settled all in. It was such a freezing cold flat. There was black mold everywhere. It was a single glazing, but it was a roof over our heads, and it was much better than being homeless on the streets. So yeah, I'm very grateful just to have had a roof over our heads, I've already said that, and money to afford the rent, which was about £700 every month, which is quite a lot of money. So number 6, I can't really do 6 anymore. 6, I became a Christian. I've really been a Christian, or I feel like I've been a Christian all my life, but I actually just committed to saying I believe in God, I'm a Christian. I don't want to go into it because I know there's some people that really won't like me jabbering on about it, even though I would like to jabber on about it, but I don't want to put people off or talk their heads off about it. I'm not baptized yet, but I really want that to happen. Maybe in 2020 is my year. I want to be baptized somewhere, possibly where I grew up, so in Lagan, which will mean it's going to be absolutely freezing, so I'll have to convince a pastor or a minister or a vicar to come in with me and baptize me that way. But yeah, a lot of things happened during my health that just made me become who I am with my faith today. So enough about that one, because I know there won't be people that want me to do that. 7 marked my 28th operation. Now, I'm not sure if it is 28 or 29, but I've had about 10 operations in the last 10 years to make it up to this figure. I'm gonna have my 29th or 30th, another operation on my eyes again in the new year for sure, and then there might be some others that come along. It depends if my body decides to grow another lump or tumour. So again, I'm looking at my notes, not being rude. 8, which should have been number 1 really. I don't know why I didn't think about it when I started my list, but anyways, 8 is Tedster. Of course, Ted, my big black cat, who I've said that so many times and got it all wrong. The big black cat, fluffy little baby of mine at the beginning, if no one knows, but I think all my subscribers know about Tedster. He has been a huge, like, fluffy friend of mine for 10 years now. I'm his 5th owner. He has been a chicken killer apparently in the past, and people didn't really notice a pattern when he kept killing people's chickens. He kept being moving on to people who had chickens, and then their chickens would disappear. Luckily we didn't have that. Our dogs got rid of our chickens, I think. Anyways, Tedster has been a huge part of my life these past 10 years. He talks to you all the time, and I know people say yeah, it's crazy, but I really think he does try and communicate with you. And I think it's scientists say that cats will only meow to their humans to communicate, like they won't meow to each other to communicate, if that makes sense. So yeah, Tedster, who is now sleeping and not giving a fluff, that I included him in my list. So number 9 was just like, I'm sure on everybody's list, that I have lost family members who have passed away, also friends who I really loved dearly, but I've also gained some amazing family members and friends. So yeah, I'm gonna make that short and sweet because I'm gonna start to cry if I think about certain stuff. So number 10, which was a humongous stress to 2019 when it started off, was my letter and Jay's letter of notice to quit, which is a posh way of saying you've been evicted, get out my house. So it wasn't that we were bad or anything. Unfortunately, the owner of the flat we were renting, the really horrible, stinky, black molded flat, he passed away, and his family just wanted to sell the flat. And in a way, it was such a blessing because I have ended up and been blessed. People can say what they like, but I believe someone up there was definitely looking down on me and has blessed me with the most perfect flat. I'm very grateful because there was 2 weeks before we needed to be out our flat, and I was thinking, we're going to be homeless. We're going to be literally without a home. I don't know what I was going to do with Ted. I knew my mum and dad said they would look after him, but they've already got a kitten there, and yeah, I'm getting really emotional. I think I'm really hungry and hangry, and 2 of the combinations aren't very good. Yeah, there was a lot of tears that day, and I thought I just gotta like snap out of it, get something done. I signed up to every single housing association there was. They're not called council houses anymore. They're called housing association houses. So I applied to every single association in Glasgow with my letter to quit. I spent like £50 on like photocopying fees to get proof of money coming in, the homeless letter, medical letter, so many stuff. So I bundled everything. There was about 20 or 30 bundles. I know 10 is quite a lot of a difference, but there was a lot of bundles that I stapled together and posted some. I actually went into housing associations and handed them in, and Partick was one of them. And my mum was saying it'd be great if we ended up in Partick, and just so happens that we did. And it was the one that I went in, handed it over to somebody with a smile. I was like, could I hand this in, please? Like, I've had some news, it's not very great, but I wondered if I could hand this in. Anyways, it just shows that you like being just kind, polite and smiley will get you places or get you stuff. I shouldn't really said that, don't listen to me. So much has happened over the past 10 years. I've also had lots of medical stuff going on. Like my health has kind of got much worse than it has this year. I am on lots of different medications to kind of help it, and I'm also seeing like different specialists at the hospital to see what they can do without pumping me full of medication. Yeah, so many highs and just a few lows. I think that's okay for 10 years. Please let me know down in the comments what all your like achievements or goals or gifts, I don't know, you've received over the 10 years. I'm so grateful for all that I have and all that I've been given, blessed with, and yeah, I cherish you all who have made a massive impact in my life. Those who have saved my life. I'm getting so emotional. Thank you so much for watching, peeps, and every single one of you who have given me support over the year. Those who have watched my videos who have not given me support, thank you so much for just stopping by. And yeah, I will see you next year. Everyone says they absolutely hate when someone says that. I've said it to like 3 people this morning and I don't care. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, peeps, I really hope I get this up in time because I'm a little bit screwed if not. Okay, goodbye. Love you.